Welcome back to the World According to Briggs. Today we're looking at the worst cities the United States has to offer. Now, we're not looking at the mega cities like LA, Chicago, New York. That's for another video. This video is more about the mid-sized to smaller cities. We're taking all things into consideration to rank these ones, but we're showing the three that people want to know about: livability score, violent crime, and cost of living compared to the rest of the state. Do you think your city's going to be on the list? Let us know in the comment section below before we get going. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 10, Barstow, California. They've got a population of about 25,000 residents. If you've never heard of Barstow, congratulations. You've probably saved yourself some anxiety. Barstow is the kind of place Californians swear they'll never move to until one day you're getting out of rehab, you signed your bankruptcy paperwork, and realize that if you want to stay in California, you need to buy a minivan to live in Death Valley or move to Barstow where you might be able to afford rent. Imagine you're cruising I-15 between Los Angeles and Las Vegas when your fuel light blinks on and your luck blinks off. You drift into Barstow, the heat hits like someone opened up a broiler door on your face. It's a desert theater. Bleached signs, cracked sidewalks, and tumbleweeds commuting more reliable than half of the workforce. The Route 66 nostalgia is real, but so is the feeling that progress got off on the last exit and never got back on. Affordability lures people to Barstow, and then you get hit with a thermostat and the police blotter. Summer's roast, water is precious, and the local environmental baggage has included scary headlines. Crime here is pretty high, and it's really not the type of stuff the tourism board likes to talk about. Now, there are jobs if your dream is living between a truck stop and a drive-thru, but amenities are thin, and real healthcare means a road trip. You'll save on housing and then spend it on distance and stress. Barstow has a livability score of 57, which is considered below average. The violent crime rate in Barstow is 183% above the national average, and the cost of living is 28% lower than California's average. So there's something. Number 9, Gallup, New Mexico. Gallup, New Mexico has a population of about 21,000. From a distance, Gallup looks like a great city. Red rocks, high desert sky, and a heritage festival that truly is impressive. But up close, it looks like a city that was designed to look great from far away. Quiet streets, pawn shops, and too many folks trying to turn family heirlooms into rent money. Poverty here is stubborn. It's the type that doesn't make the headlines, but shows up on every single block. Alcohol-related harm has cast a long shadow on this town's well-being, and basic opportunity is a scavenger hunt at best. Houses look attainable on paperwork, but your budget doesn't buy services, jobs, or the feeling that tomorrow is less uphill than today. The scenery is spectacular, the prospects a little bit less so. Gallup's livability score is 63, which is considered below average. The violent crime rate is 274% above the national average, and the cost of living in Gallup is 3% lower than New Mexico's average. That's pretty good for a state that already has a low cost of living. Number 8, Selma, Alabama. Population, 17,000. The only people that live in Selma, Alabama are the people that haven't found a way out yet. Selma is both iconic and exhausted. The history is heavy and important. The present is heavy and underfunded. Walk the bridge and you'll feel the gravity of what happened here. Walk a few blocks more and you'll feel the gravity of what's still happening here. Jobs are thin, income is low, schools fighting uphill battles, and infrastructure has cracks the size of a Volkswagen bus. Housing is affordable, but bargain tags come with maintenance issues, limited medical access, and local economy that can't seem to stand up straight. If you move here for the story, understand that the last chapter still needs editors, money, and time. The livability score in Selma is 56, which is considered below average. The violent crime rate is 124% higher than the national average, and the cost of living in Selma is 7% lower than Alabama's average. Like New Mexico, it's already pretty low in the whole state of Alabama. They got a low cost of living, and then Selma's 7% lower than that. Outstanding. It might be worth the danger. I don't know. Number 7, Camden, New Jersey, our old friend. They have a population of about 71,000, which is weird because people have been leaving there for decades. They haven't had population growth since the 1950 census. Camden's the type of city where the government relocates an office when they want the employees to quit. Across the river from Philadelphia, and the vibe changes fast. Camden's waterfront museums and the battleship are solid attractions, but you don't linger once the sun clocks out. The city's industrial collapse left scars that never really healed, and the residents shoulder the kind of day-to-day anxiety no aquarium can soothe. Schools are strained, jobs are scarce, and the violent crime doesn't take a vacation. You can buy a place for less than you'd expect, but you'll pay the difference in vigilance. Camden has tried reforms and resets, but recovery keeps slipping through its fingers like loose change. Camden's livability score is 62, which is considered below average, and their violent crime rate is 365% above the national average. But the cost of living in Camden is 25% lower than New Jersey's average. Number 6, Benton Harbor, Michigan. Population, 9,806. Benton Harbor is a great place to move to if you're dodging subpoenas. If you've ever heard the phrase, when hell freezes over, they're describing Benton Harbor in January. Lake Michigan is right there, looking like a screensaver, and yet Benton Harbor wrestles with poverty at scales that makes lake life feel theoretical. You'll see the split screen with neighboring St. Joseph, which tourists on one side, struggling on the other. That's what's going on. St. Joseph is a lot nicer, and right across the way is Benton Harbor, and it sucks. You start thinking, how can two zip codes this close be so different? Now, the real estate can be cheap here, but you inherit slow service, a history of drinking water worries, and an economy glued together by seasonal work and wishful thinking. If you do move here, you'll learn the first name of every pothole and last name of every bill. Benton Harbor has a livability score of 55, which again is considered below average. Their violent crime rate is 532% above the national average. The only reason they're higher up on this list is because they got a lot of things to do. You just have to drive over the city's border, and find it someplace else. The cost of living here is 12% lower than Michigan's average. Number 5, East St. Louis, Illinois. Population, 17,642. This entire city is like the set of The Walking Dead, really. They haven't had a census with growth since 1950, and in all but one of those, they lost double digits. Miss a right exit off the bridge, and your heart rate goes up. That's not an exaggeration. That's muscle memory for anyone who's taken the wrong turn and then practiced NASCAR back to the interstate. Don't stop at red lights here. Keep your car moving, slowly if you have to, until the light turns green, or until a friendly local starts walking towards your car trying to discuss something with you. East St. Louis used to hum with industry. Now the soundtrack is wind through empty lots and the occasional fire truck. Crime is too common and the tax base is a memory. For sale signs outnumber porch lights, and public infrastructure looks like it's staging a slow-motion collapse. You might score a house for the price of a used car, but you'll spend the savings on everything a functioning city is supposed to handle. East St. Louis has a livability score of 69, which is considered average. That's because it's so cheap. East St. Louis violent crime rate is 168% above the national average, which a lot of people think is BS because more than any other city in the United States, except Inglewood, California, I believe, they think they underreport their crimes or they're just not responding to half the crimes that are called in. The cost of living here is 20% lower than the national average. Number 4, Gary, Indiana. Population, 69,093. What could be said about Gary, Indiana that hasn't been scrawled on a prison wall already? Gary is a frickin' nightmare. I mean, that's the best way you could describe Gary. This is the Rust Belt at its finest. I mean, it's right up there with old Detroit. Detroit was pretty bad. They've gotten a lot better in recent years, but Gary still struggles bad. The mills dimmed, the jobs left, and half the population followed them out the door. What's left is a map of shuttered plants and stubborn residents battling a budget that never matches the to-do list. Houses are affordable in the way that salvage yards are affordable. Some streets look like they've been waiting for a film crew shouting, "After the apocalypse." Schools try, services sputter, and the nights get quiet enough that you can hear your own second thoughts. Gary has a livability score of 62, which again is considered below average. Their violent crime rate is 99% above the national average, and their cost of living is 2% lower than Indiana's average, which is decent because Indiana's already pretty cheap. Number 3, Atlantic City, New Jersey. Population, 38,497. Bright lights, loud slots, empty winters. Atlantic City is a gamble even the casinos don't advise taking anymore. The boardwalk still looks good in a wide shot, but zoom in and you'll see the off-season blues and neighborhoods stuck between foreclosure and deja vu. The beach is a draw until you try and live there year-round and discover a local economy that yo-yos with tourism and not many nets when it drops. You can scoop up property cheap, but just remember that cheap often means you're DIYing your way through the problems the city can't afford to fix either. Atlantic City was a great place, and there was a lot of hope for this place in the 1980s and maybe even to the 90s a little bit, but man, they fell hard, and it's just gotten worse. I mean, some of the casinos are still there, and they try and make it as best they can, but that's some pretty empty casinos. The livability score is 55, which is considered below average. The violent crime rate is 397% above the national average, and the cost of living in Atlantic City is 18% lower than New Jersey's average. That's not bad. If you're a big gambler, you can go there and buy a nice house for, same price you get a year's worth of Starbucks. Then you go to the casinos for entertainment and lose all the money you saved. Number 2, Yazoo City, Mississippi. Population, 10,316. The name sounds whimsical. The reality is less so. Yazoo City has colorful buildings downtown and crime numbers that can drain the color from your face. Property crime bites hard, and violent incidents happen often enough that you'll memorize the sound of police radios. It's the kind of place where people build community by necessity, not novelty. You could buy a house without auctioning off your future, but stubborn poverty, thin services, and limited opportunity keep the neighborhood mood a little tense. The commute to better jobs is real. The mosquito situation is a lifestyle, and the feeling that the city's still waiting for a second act is hard to shake. If you move here, bring patience, backup plans, and a doorbell camera that earns its keep. Yazoo City's livability score is 52. This out of 100, by the way. I think that's obvious to most people. Their violent crime rate is 228% above the national average, and their cost of living in Yazoo City is 5% lower than Mississippi's average. How is that possible? Mississippi is the cheapest state we got. It's insane. All right, before we get to number 1, if you're enjoying what you're seeing right here, give the video a big thumbs up, leave me a comment, maybe watch the second video that's suggested at the end of this video. It really helps out. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, Monroe, Louisiana. Population, 46,117. Monroe is the type of place you move to when you think you need to suffer more. Maybe you went to Catholic school and you bought into the whole purgatory thing. Step outside and the humidity slaps you like it's collecting a debt. It's hot, it's sticky, and the mosquitoes seem like they've been sent by your crazy ex. The weather here is the first tax. The others are structural, weak job growth, aging infrastructure, and a poverty line that has far too many people on the bad side of. There is local pride in some famous names from here, sure, but the day-to-day life can feel like you're in survival mode. When fishing is less recreation and more dinner plan, you're not chasing a lifestyle, you're dodging a trap. Monroe isn't a destination, it's a reminder that not every city near a river has a path to revival. Monroe's livability score is 51, which is considered poor. Their violent crime rate is 457% above the national average. Is the Hunger Games being played here? How does that happen? Maybe Fight Club is everywhere here? What is happening in Monroe that they have a violent crime rate that's 457% above the national average? It's insane. The cost of living in Monroe is 5% lower than the national average. Outstanding. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.